great marketing is the right message to the right people at the right time enough times.
Very
That's
important.
that's what marketing is, right?
Very
And
important.
guess what your brand is? It's the right message designed to fit the right people.
Welcome to Be Bold Branding, where we discuss the power of differentiating yourself through your own unique story and standout personal brand.
Hey guys,
Hi. And you'll have to excuse our construction mess in the background today. We were experimenting with some green screen video.
we've been shooting vid.
Went terribly wrong.
Well, it didn't go terribly wrong. It
well,
just did not go
it
as
didn't go-
planned.
It didn't go terribly right.
I mean, the building's still standing. Nothing caught on fire. No humans or animals were harmed in the filming that we did. So
some
I mean,
pride was.
it just didn't turn out. It just happens that way, guys. You know what I mean? First lesson of the day. Do not be deterred.
Do not
try again.
All right, today we want to talk about something we disagree with. Now, we agree with each other, which is pretty common, but we don't agree with some of the branding gurus. And, personal branding is the buzzword of the decade, but what you may be hearing could be misleading or at the very least
Probably
incomplete. Right?
Definitely incomplete.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're here to talk about those things. And you probably saw in the teaser, there are 3 things that we disagree with the branding gurus. All right, just pick a guru, right? We don't even have specific ones that we're talking about. There's plenty of them out there, but they tend to follow into these same camps, and we don't agree with it. And there's 3 reasons why we're going to deviate from that. And it deals directly how these things affect your success in your marketing of your business, no matter what genre of business you're in. Okay.
Absolutely. Okay. So without further ado, I'm Tanya Eberhardt, founder of BrandFace, where we help experts and entrepreneurs differentiate themselves. And we do that through personal branding.
And I'm Michael Carr. I was a BrandFace client. Almost 8 years ago, I was the first real estate client, actually, not the first entrepreneur to go through the BrandFace program, but first real estate company, real estate brokerage 8 years ago. And the principles made our company and continues to make our company so successful. I wanted to buy into the partnership of the company, and Tanya was gracious enough to ask me and let me. And so today we are the world's only comprehensive personal brand building system across the globe. That nobody has put it together like we have, and we're here today to talk about the lessons that she's learned over 3 decades and that I've learned in the last 10 years working with her. All right, personal branding.
Disagreement
just
number
about
1.
Being yourself. That's disagreement number 1. Personal branding is just about being yourself. We totally disagree with that. Although we do believe you should be yourself. They tell you be authentic, show your personal side. It's social media, a little bit of business, a little bit of yourself, and breakfast and brushing your teeth and stuff like that. But the question to this is, and when they just hang that out there and just leave it hovering in this ethereal thought process about being authentic, what does that mean to actually be authentic? And many of you struggle with that. You struggle with what does that mean?
You struggle with how.
The how. We're here to talk about some of that. How do you just be you and still attract prospects? How do you know which personal things to share? Which professional things are more important will be attractive to people without being too salesy? Well, it turns out there's literally is a formula for that. It's our 3D freedom formula. And if you want more information on that, then hit us up in the comments and we'll lead you straight to where you can find that out. But it isn't something that's just out here as a guest. There's literally a formula for it.
Yep, there is. Okay, so what we agree with, the second thing we disagree with is that only your customers can determine your brand. We do not agree with that. Okay, so let's break it down. Some gurus say that your brand is the outcome or result, and it's really determined by your customers, not by you. Well, we don't disagree that a brand is really about the outcome, but you got to ask yourself, what kind of outcome do you want and what kind of customers do you need? Because your brand is dependent on those things,
Absolutely.
Right? Or those things are dependent upon your brand, better said. So yes, of course, your customers decide how they view you and whether or not they're going to do business with you, but can you influence that? Of
Now, of course
course.
you can.
That's
Absolutely you
what's
can.
known as brand building, guys. That's it. That's where we part ways. You don't.
That is branding.
It is branding, and you can influence it, and you should influence that.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you.
You should influence that thoughtfully. It's up to you to spell it out for people, right? Tell them your story, tell them what you stand for, because otherwise they come to their own conclusions, make up their own minds about things. And if you're not portraying the message and image that you want to portray, well, then you got some issues there, right?
Yeah. And then your customers will give you a brand, right? It's sort of like this. You're either training or being trained.
Mhm.
That's really what it boils down to. And so the gurus are right a little bit in that, because your customer will determine your brand. And I know a lot of people who say, with that particular sales, in fact, I'm dealing with it right now with a contractor. That particular person, his brand doesn't show up to fix his work. Right. So, yeah, they will give you a brand if you don't do what you're supposed to, and you don't tell them what your brand is. One of the greatest things that we learn through the BrandFace program is that a great brand doesn't just change how others see you. It changes how you see yourself. A brand will give you something to live up to that is very important to your clients. Okay. So we know that there are 5 things that any brand should be able to answer. And if it cannot answer these 5 questions minimum, it is not a completed brand. It is something in between a thought and a developing thought. Okay. All right.
But so it's still trapped here.
But it's not in action. And here are the 5 questions. Write these down. What sets you apart from your competitors? Okay. Who do you serve? And you need to, and don't just say people, right? How do you serve them? What qualifies you to serve them? Very important one. And then the absolute most important one, how does it make their life better? And if your brand doesn't do that, it is in disarray. It is not showing up the way it's supposed to. All right. So if you don't consciously approach the building of your brand to highly influence the result, then you leave the result completely in the hands of others and the thoughts of others. And you don't want that. Trust me.
And that's something I want you guys to write down. If you don't consciously approach the building of your brand to highly influence the result, then you leave the result completely in the hands of others. And that's where we disagree, that your customer decides your brand in the end 100%. Well, yeah, of course they decide whether or not to do business with you, but who's going to influence that thought better than you,
Exactly.
right? Okay. Yeah. The third thing we disagree with, it takes too long to build a brand. Takes a long time.
Definitely disagree with that.
We disagree with that.
Totally disagree with that.
Of course, brands continue to build over time. They continue to grow over time, but time is not the success factor. You should write that one down too. This is a writing day. I hope your wrists get tired. Okay. Time is not a success factor when it comes to the brand. It's not the success factor, right? Brands are really built through impressions. The more you put your message out there and what you stand for, the more your prospects will be exposed to it. Plain and simple.
Plain and simple. The more they'll be attracted to it, the more they will investigate. And that's what you want. When you get your clients investigating you, you're fixing to have another client. Okay. That's so true. That's true, right? You have to ask yourself, once your brand is built, when it can answer those 5 questions, when we've gotten past the etherealism of just be yourself and authentic and all that kind of stuff, right? And then now we recognize that we need to tell what our brand is to our potential clients. Now the question is, okay, how are you going to get it out there? Do you put it out there enough? Are you creating content like you're supposed to? How much time are you present on social media? And how are you demonstrating your expertise in the right circles? Okay, so you need to start. Once that's done, now you've got a roadmap, and you can start building that roadmap. And yes, every time you're out there, your brand is growing. Your brand is growing. As Tanya says, your brand is grown by impressions. And that impression can start at the very first person that you meet right after you decide what your brand is and get it built. Hello, I'm Michael Carr, the Abundant Life Broker. Oh, well, that's interesting. What does that mean? Well, it means that I spend every bit of my waking time helping everybody, all of our clients across the country and this country and 4 other countries become as successful as they possibly can dream of being. And I do everything I can to coach them into that. Right? That's a brand. They don't have to worry about what I do. They don't have to worry about that. It tells them what they do, how I serve them, finally what qualifies me to serve them.
So let me give you a couple of different scenarios. I'm going to piggyback on that for just a moment. So when we talk about impressions, there was a lady that I remember in upstate New York. She came into our program. She was only maybe 2 weeks in. So she had her brand identifier. She knew her tone and direction of her brand. She knew what she wanted to be known for, what she stood for. And she also had her elevator pitch. Okay. And that's all she had at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And she was just about to start the next step of the program. And she called me so excited and wanted to talk to me like right now. And she says, I'm so excited. I just had to share with you this. She said, just the last few days, I've been introducing myself with my elevator pitch. And she said, you wouldn't believe the change that it makes in people. I say, here, my name's Gail. Here's what I do. And they say, wow, that's what you do. That's exactly where I am in my life right now. Boom. Customer. She got 2 customers in the first 5 days after getting her brand identifier and her elevator pitch, because number 1, she saw herself differently. Number 2, she knew how to articulate that. And number 3, people saw her for how she was valuable to them.
Yes.
And so if I can express anything else to you today, that is what I want to express to you. And that was probably 3 different impressions, 1 or 2 new customers in that first few days.
And 2 weeks into the program.
2
and
weeks.
I remember a little bit more about that situation too. It was the highest listing.
Oh, that's right.
She
had never had a $1 million listing.
She never had a $1 million listing. So one of those
now you're
listings
bringing
that
it
she
back.
got was a $1 million listing. So
Yeah.
with a guy that was actually moving to downsize. So she was going to get 2 sides of that deal. Literally, it was just 2 or 3 impressions to land the client, just like that. Just like that.
Now I'm going to put it into even better perspective. So take 2 people. Let's assume they both have a really strong brand. They can answer those 5 critical questions. It's not enough to know. You have to show. So it shows in their brand too. And everything's out there equally. But you've got one person who's out there introducing themselves with their elevator pitch. They're signing all their emails with their brand identifier. They're shooting some videos or popping on social media or doing all of these different things, just getting themselves out there more often. So those 2 people have had their brand for 2 years each. One person's put it out there regularly every day. They live that brand. They breathe that brand. The others just kind of sat on that brand for a while. And once in a while, an email will go out with a brand identifier on it. And once in a while, they'll hand out their business card. Guess who's going to take longer to build their brand? The one who has more impressions. Time is not the issue. The number of impressions. Okay. I feel like I'm preaching.
You are preaching. Preach on.
I'm going. All right. So let me finish this out then. So think about this. When it comes to impressions, we're not talking about that typical measurement of quantity alone. We're talking about reaching the right customers. And back in my media days, I came up with this statement, which to me just kind of makes it easy to understand and sums it up. Great marketing is the right message to the right people at the right time, enough times.
Very important.
That's what marketing is, right?
And
guess what your brand is? It's the right message designed to fit the right people. Okay. Enough time, at the right time and enough times, that's marketing. The other's branding.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's the difference. So if you're sitting back there thinking, why start now? Just let go of that fallacy that it takes forever and just get started. Just do it. Right. So let's just kind of sum this up. Number 1 reason we disagree with branding gurus is that personal branding is just about being yourself. We think it's a lot more than that. No, there's actually a formula to it, and we've got it, right? Okay, number 2, only your customers can determine your brand. Though, wish we had one of those gongs.
I know.
Remember the Gong Show?
Gong.
So only your
Family Feud.
That's true. We need to get one of those. So yes, in the end of the day, your customer decides whether or not they do business with you, but you determine the brand that they see.
Yes.
Okay? Think about that. Okay. And then the third one, of course, it takes a long time to build a brand. Nonsense. It takes impressions to build a brand. Okay. So that's it for today, guys. And I hope that this one really, really helped you. So remember, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the next best time is today.
Love that quote. It's one of my faves.
Mhm.
Hey, listen, folks. So wherever you are in that process, even if you just literally just heard of personal branding on this show right here, get out from under the rock and then go to discussyourbrand.com. Discussyourbrand.com. And let's talk. It's free. It's 30 minutes. You can book it on a schedule for our staff. They love to talk about branding. We love to talk about branding. We love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. We wrote the book on it, coined the term. We want to talk to you about it and get you started.
Okay.
It'll change your life.
And don't forget to hit that like button, okay? If you like what you've heard today, like it, love it, share it, and ding, subscribe so you'll be alerted when we do another one of these insightful videos.
Right. Hey, folks, here it's about prosperity, right? And when we say prosperity, we're not just talking about money. That's just a part of it. We're talking about the full 360 of an abundant life that we truly wish for every one of you guys. We know at BrandFace that prosperity favors the bold, so we say be bold, folks, especially with your brand, especially in 2022. And thank you, Ms. Tom.
Thank you, Michael. All
Thank
right.
you for your time.
Bye, guys. Be bold today.
Brought to you by BrandFace, the only comprehensive personal brand building system across the globe.